And there we go. So welcome to Tuesday night training. We've got some really exciting stuff tonight. Mark and I are going to be presenting, and I'm going to go first, and then I'll hand it over to Mark. He's got some great nuggets for you later on. And we're going to be focusing on Chapter 5 of Get Over Your Damn Self. And the title of it of the chapter is Talk Your Way into a seven-figure income. And wouldn't that be fantastic? So we are going to be talking our way through the chapter, but I'm not just going to kind of regurgitate the chapter for you. I'm going to have you guys be doing some exercises and things like that tonight. But I am just going to kind of give you a brief overview of the chapter because I know not everyone is necessarily reading that book. So basically, in this chapter, she talks about the rules to live by when you're reaching out to people. I just realized my screen is really... There we go. So number one, and a lot of these you will have heard before, but if you're new, they'll be great first-time things for you to be learning, some basic fundamental things, and then we're going to branch out into a little bit of an exercise I'm going to get everybody to do.
I don't know why.
Oops, I forgot to mute everybody. Hang on.
Is it done snowing?
There we go. Groovy. Okay, so I'm going to start out by talking about those fundamental principles of reaching out. We're going to get into some that may be a little more in depth than maybe what you might have known about before. And then we're going to have this exercise thing that we're going to do at the end, which does not involve sweating. It's actually just pen to paper, and it's going to be pretty awesome. So number one, the guidelines in the chapter, the reach out rules to live by is what she calls them. Number one is one we hear all the time: do not be attached to the outcome. As we're sharing with people, we're offering them something, we're offering them products or opportunity. But you just don't want to be attached to that outcome because honestly, you just release them. If they decide it's not for them, that's fine. And they can be, somebody you can follow up with later. Is someone messaging me? Are we good? You're good? You're good? Okay. All right. Sorry. So that is really, really important. And don't allow maybes and no's to slow down your momentum because they rock your belief. Okay. That is the number one reason that people slow down, is because they feel like they're not doing it right, or, oh no, nobody's going to say yes to me. And just don't let that happen. Number two, this is really important. We're in the business of sharing, and that is not cliche. You don't want to be on the hunt for people. You really and truly want to reach out to people in a very authentic way. And you don't want to be trying to convince anybody or pull anybody in. You don't want those people as teammates. You don't want those people as customers because they're just going to suck the life out of you. You want to be reaching out to people, sharing with people, engaging with people. We're going to talk about words in a little while. But that's what you want to be doing. You don't want to be convincing people ever. Okay. So that's very important. You don't want to start your day with the mindset, who am I going to get today? So it's not a hunt. It's not a hunt and a chase situation. This is a situation where you're methodically thinking about these people on your list. And again, we're going to talk about words a little bit later, but you really want to adopt the intention, I have something to share with people, and I have something to offer to people that's going to help them in XYZ. Okay. So again, but no matter what happens when you are talking to people, don't be attached. Less words means more. Okay. So when you're reaching out to people and you're all pumped up about Plexus, and you are pumped full of Plexus, and you're all excited about it, the last thing you want to do is kind of regurgitate all that on people. You want to give people small amounts of information that they can digest easily. And I'm not even talking about ingredients here. I'm talking about when you reach out to somebody, you just want to convey to them excitement. And you want to ask yourself, am I talking too much? If you're not speaking in the real world, are my messages too long? Is there too much information in there? So, when you're reaching out to people, you want to make sure that you keep it really brief. Like, hey, Sally, listen, you were on my mind today. I just really wanted to talk to you about something and pick your brain about something. Do you have some time to chat? And if they say no, then we're going to talk about ways to connect on an appointment later. But that's as much as you need to reach out with. You don't need to say, hey, I'm taking this great thing and it's got some chromium in it and I feel so fantastic. And Sally doesn't want to hear about that because Sally has no attachment to chromium whatsoever, likely. Okay. Nor has she maybe even heard of it unless she took chemistry or something. So you really need to make sure that you're not giving people these big, long spiels. So less is more. And often with new people on my team, if they say, I'm getting crickets, I'm like, send me your messages. What are you sending to people? And then when I get the back, I said, what did we say? And they always say less is more. So you just want to make sure that you're not saying too much at once. Be authentic. We talk about that a lot too. You got to be yourself. Use your own language. Don't try to sound like somebody else. You are who you are. You use the language that you use. And you don't want to use words and tone that you think the other person wants to hear. Just be yourself, because you won't consistently be able to be anyone else but yourself. And you want to come across, that way. And I think that's really important. So be a prepared, confident you. If you're not feeling ready, then don't reach out yet. If you're not feeling ready in the sense that your brain's not all there or not all in it in the moment, just wait 5 minutes. Get collected, get prepared. Number 5, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. And I know this to be true. You cannot say the wrong thing to the right person. So let me give you an example from my experience. Very short into my business with Plexus. I sat down with Barb Duplessis, who's on our team, and I met up with her at Tim's for a coffee, and we were chatting away, and I had no idea what I was talking about. Not a clue, not half a clue, but I was so excited, and I allowed space to happen, and I just let her talk, right? It was all about her. And you know what? She joined me, and she's still with me. So you don't have to know everything to do this. Okay. You just have to be authentic, convey your excitement. And remember, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. That's obvious. So when I got to that part of the chapter, I thought, yeah, that's very true. Now, another thing that you don't want to do is, or the next thing that I really want you to think about doing is listening. So I mentioned that with my example about Barb. You really have to listen to people, bite your tongue, hold back from selling them the farm and giving them all that information at once. And part of the way that you do that is by listening to them. This isn't about us. This is about them every single time. And the more that you know about your prospect, the more it's going to help guide that conversation. And the more you listen, the more you're going to get to know. That was the other point from that. So earlier I mentioned that if you reach out to somebody with just a little piece of information, like, hey, Sally, you're on my mind today. And I really wanted to pick your brain about something. Do you have, 10 minutes to chat with me? I'd love to chat. And if Sally comes back with, I don't have time right now, then you make an appointment. You never leave your conversation without making an appointment for the next conversation. So how do you do that? Without being pushy, you don't be pushy. You say, well, listen, I totally get it. I'm available tonight at 8 and at 9. Do one of those 2 times work for you for tonight? If Sally comes back with, actually, you know what, the kids have this, that, and the other, then say, Sally, you know what, I'd like to make this easy for you. Can you recommend a time tomorrow morning or tomorrow evening where we could meet? So never let Sally off the hook of making that next appointment, because it'll be too easy for Sally to make an excuse that she doesn't have time or this or that. So just make sure that you're always creating an appointment for that next conversation. That's how follow-ups get easier too. So that when we talk about crickets, if you've really utilized the tool and you've asked for the appointment, chances are you're going to get it, and your crickets are going to be fewer and farther between. And if you're wondering what crickets are just when people don't answer you back. Okay. Don't count your chickens before they hatch. So that means somebody tells you they're going to sign up next Tuesday, and someone else said they're going to sign up next Thursday, and someone else said they're going to buy product from you on payday. Those people haven't done that yet. You haven't built that part of your business yet. That hasn't happened. So don't rely on those. That's really important. I hear people say that all the time, like, oh, this girl at my work's signing up next Friday, and oh, that friend of mine at the gym is going to sign up next Tuesday. And then the people are supremely disappointed at the end. They're attached to the outcome too much too. So really watch that. This next one is probably going to be one that will be difficult for a lot of people, but I really want you to think about it. How many of you lead with the products? Raise your hand. Who leads with the product? Okay. So I'm going to implore you to do something different. If you lead, oh, I see some people raising their hands in the chat there. If you lead with the product and somebody says they're not interested, you have nowhere to go. You have nowhere to go. Because, you know, you can't ask them to refer people over to you. You can't ask people if they'd like to do the business with you. They've just said they don't want to do the product. So you have to lead with the business. And when compliance came forward and told us you can't speak about the product on Facebook anymore, I took like 2 days and went, because I was a product pusher. I was all about sharing product, and I still do very much. Like if a friend says they have a headache, or, you know, like those things that happen when we're out and about. But I lead now with the business because that compliance piece kind of I'm like, what am I going to do on Facebook? What am I going to do on social media? So that forced me into that. But this just makes so much sense. You lead with the business. If they're not interested in the business, you pivot to the referral. And then, you know, and there's ways to converse about that, which we're going to share with you in a bit. And then you introduce the products last. Okay. So that's just kind of really an important piece that we're going to get back to a lot in a little bit. But that's one of the steps that she mentions as the steps for successful reaching out. Okay. Okay. Number 11, don't leave rambling voicemails on their phone or on their messenger audio. Now, this is something that's really important because people, the minute they start to hear the long spiel, they're not going to listen to the rest, guys. What do you do with voicemails that are long? Do you listen to them? Hey, it's the captain speaking. 7777, right? Like, we don't want to hear those messages. We don't. And I don't listen to I'll be honest with you, I'm a teacher, and I don't even listen to the voicemails that come from school because I know they're going to come in an email later. So people just aren't going to listen to them. So what you need to do is just be brief, be breezy. You know, the one that I left. Hey, Sally, it's Tanya. I really want to talk to you about something. Something's come to my attention that I have to share with you. Do you have 5 minutes? So that's the kind of voicemail you want to leave. All right. So we have talked about, it's not about us, it's about them. So in the book, she references, you know, what's in it for them. And she does, you know, the WIIFT, what's in it for them. Okay. People like them is what they need to hear are building businesses like this, like the one that we have. That's what people need to hear about. They really need to hear what's in it for them. So step 1 is to figure out people's pain points. So I want everybody to grab a pen and a piece of paper, but y'all have one anyway because you're taking notes, I can tell. But I want you to do that for me, and I want you to make 2 columns on your paper. One is pain. So one column is pain, and then the other column is no pain. Okay, and I'm going to give you 1 minute. No, I'll give you 30 seconds to think of somebody that you would love to reach out to. This can be somebody on your chicken list, or it can be somebody on your master list. But remember that you're going to be reaching out to them about the business.
Someone we haven't reached out to before?
That's right.
Okay.
So this is a first time reach out. I guess you could tailor it if you wanted it to be a follow-up, but I think it would work better for this exercise. Yeah. Okay. So write that person's name down above the 2 columns.